Directed by Wong Kar-wai, Chungking Express is divided into two halves. The first is about a cop grieving over his breakup, and how he encounters an enigmatic drug dealer played by Bridget Lin. The second is also about a grieving cop, but it's an eccentric waitress played by Faye Wong, who has an interesting interpretation of personal space that affects his life. Hong Kong in the mid-1990s was experiencing what Janice Tong called the state of its own disappearance, which refers primarily to the uncertainty of the 1997 handover, where British colonialism was ending and Hong Kong was being given back to China. However, Hong Kong's identity was fragmented even before this, from it being a territory of the Qing dynasty, then colonised by the British Empire in 1843, then taken over briefly by Japan during World War II, and then back to the British Empire again, where it would transition from an entrepot to a manufacturing hub, becoming exposed culturally and economically to both the East and the West. So it's understandable that the handover back to mainland China would invoke a sense of uncertainty, and the feeling that Hong Kong's already intricate identity could vanish, especially considering that since its colonial era, both China and Hong Kong have developed different ideas of their Chineseness. Therefore, during the time Chungking Express was produced, there was a rapid sense of time passing in Hong Kong. This experience of time is reflected well by Wong in the film, particularly how it visually represents Hong Kong and its people. For example, the slip framing of Faye Wong's character in the food stall, which provides the audience with a limited view of her, and along with the handheld camera work and fast-paced editing, creates a disorientating experience. The opening of the film shows the sky, but the clouds move at an unnatural speed, and when we are eventually shown the Hong Kong streets, it's visually incoherent and chaotic, making the specific location and its architecture almost indistinguishable. Janice Tong states that rather than attempting to capture spaces, geography, architecture or location, Wong is trying to capture time. This is rendered cinematically through the ambiguous nature of his images, and not only does time displace the characters and locations, but the film itself ultimately displaces time. Scholars have referred to Hong Kong as a throwaway society, where its citizens depend on the consumption of fast food, renting small apartments with basic furnishings, and mass-produced furniture. Generally speaking, this wasn't by necessity, but by choice, a lifestyle of disposability, where the past and memory are of little concern, because unlike China, or even the British colonisers, Hong Kong doesn't have the same type of definitive history. The characters in Chungking Express belong to this disposable and transient world. The two cops both live alone, in small rented apartments with basic furnishings. Faye Wong's character works in the fast food store where the cops dine, and because of her job, the air hostess ex-girlfriend is never in one place for too long. The film presents Hong Kong as a city without a fundamental centre, a ruptured mobile state where images, time, space, characters, and stories fold and weave upon each other, with no real certainty, and are always ready to vanish from our gaze. As Tong concludes, Wong's visual fabric of time has more to do with affect, memory, displacement. It is about seeing as well as not seeing, appearance, disappearance.